We got a couple things. As far as my Amazon stream, though, I'm not sure if everyone can see because I got this big Amazon bar, this Amazon bar thing in the center of it. So I don't know if that's a permanent fixture or whether it's just, if it's a temporary fixture. But one thing's for sure is we're gonna paint no matter what. We are gonna paint no matter what. Oh, it's righty tighty, lefty loosey. Trying to situate my painting here. There we go. Is that? But it is Caturday, people. Caturday, the best of all days. Caturday. Is there anyone that doesn't love a good Saturday, aka Caturday, aka an awesome day? Sup, Omizu, Kate Preferred. We're gonna go make some magic happen. There's something about painting that's very magical to me, and it's mainly about the fact that it's you start with one thing, you start with an idea, and some people are like are able to make things like look good really 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 quickly, but for me it takes time. And when it takes time, I like to just think about all the things that go into it, that eventually if you build up layer by layer by layer, you'll come up with something really nice. And that's what's magical to me about painting. Is regardless of your skill level or whatever, if you give it time, there's something magical to painting. So, what we're doing today is we are painting. Yes, that's right, we're painting. Oh, my almost fell off the table. That would have been good, would have been bad. But here we go. Let's see. Open up my supplies. So I got my supply here. This is I don't know exactly what you would call this. It's just a stainless steel container for your mineral spirits or your turpentine, whatever thinner that you use. You need one of these to contain the thinner, and it prevents the odors from getting out, which is really important. And what else here? So we're gonna go right here, and we're gonna pop open our oils. And now we are ready to rock and troll. Whew. All right. So this painting, we've gotten some progress on it. What do I want to do? I want to work on this painting and then go back to our other painting. But I would like to initiate a background on this. We are going to lay down a nice thick opaque. Let me see what happens. I want to experiment with some ingredients here. We're gonna experiment with some Gamblin solvent-free gel for some spreadability effect, with a bunch of yellow ochre here. Just the yellow ochre. Let's lay this down here. I've had this yellow ochre for a long time now. And I would like it to have just a hint of red and extra yellow. So we're going to throw in some of our Charbon yellow here. Our Charbon brand of yellow. I really like this brand because they come in a pack. You can order them in packs of 5. And you get them all like the different values or different types of yellow. So like this, for example, is a mustard yellow or medium French yellow. It looks more like a mustard yellow. And then there's like a bright yellow. And then, you know, there's 3 other ones, but it's nice to have. So I'm mixing a few different colors now, mostly yellows, but I'm going to throw in just a dab of red. Red is such an overpowering color. Red is probably one of the most overpowering colors other than black. I think it goes like black and then red. But here we go. We're going to take our palette knife now. I'm going to mix it like an actual proper mixing. If I could find my palette knife. Where's my palette knife at? Where did they go? If I can actually find my palette knife. You can tell I don't use it enough. I usually mix it with a, I usually mix my palette, my colors with my brush, which is not proper technique. You should mix it with a palette knife for a variety of reasons. But sometimes it's just hard for me to find my palette knife. So here we go. So I got this big chunk of, I got this big old dab of yellow right in the center, right here. And I want to take this and I want to throw in some of my Gamblin solvent-free gel. Volumetric and dimensional. Thank you for noticing, Omuzu. That's what I was aiming for. So we're going to take our yellow and our red, and we're going to throw in some of the solvent-free gel. I think the ratio is like 1/4, and I just want to see whether how much it helps the spreadability of all this. And I would like to also have my squeezer tube, but I would like to take in some mineral spirit just to thin it out a bit more. And we're just going to go dab this all in. Let's go mix this together and let's see what kind of color we could get. Let's see. Here we go. Boom. And as I mentioned earlier, red just tends to overpower any color that mixes it in, but we're getting somewhere. I'm going to get like a really browned red. I guess this is just like a pretty much a burnt sienna. I could just use burnt sienna, but whatever. Yeah, this is the color we've gotten. It's like a burnt sienna. So we're going to work with this. I'm just going to start to lay it down and just start to get it onto the canvas raw. Just start laying this color raw onto the canvas here. Nice layer onto the canvas. Nice thick layer. Just keep going. So just laying this pretty much raw, except with a little bit of Gamblin solvent-free gel. We're just laying it down flat, nice and flat here. I'm going through all these colors. You know, I was aiming for like a more of like a dark yellow, but we're gonna stick with this. Sometimes I like the idea of spontaneously using something that just didn't come out. I guess if I had thought of more of the specific colors, it wouldn't be as dense, but it did. So you know what? This is what came of it. This is what we're going to use. I could keep just adding some yellow, but this is the goal here. This is what we're going to be working with. This really is just like a burnt sienna. So note to self, yellow ochre plus lots of red, or just a little bit of red, creates a burnt sienna. And burnt sienna is like a really like a redded brown color, but peanut butter jelly time. Where'd you get that from, Omizu? Where'd you get peanut butter jelly time from? All right, so we're just laying this down like a nice, really thick layer of paint. Painting can actually be a good arm workout. I often get, my arms often get tired when I, have to lay down large areas of color like this. My arms get tired quite often. So this will be the thickest layer we've got. It's kind of nice, actually, It is actually pretty nice. This color is actually not too bad at all. It's turning out pretty well. But I needed a nice thick layer because otherwise I was going to keep having this like transparent effect of everything underneath just, having this color. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep going here. Grab this color again, a nice chunk of this. And oh, you watching Family Guy, dude? You still watch Family Guy? Is that even on? Dude, is that still even on? Family Guy, dude? Why am I saying dude? Dude. One thing about Rothko is that if anything, Mark Rothko, if anyone doesn't know who Mark Rothko is, please go look for one of his paintings. You could leave this live stream and check it out, but then come right back. Or look at it, or go see his painting afterwards. But if there's anything that could be said about Mark Rothko, whether you like his artwork or not, for like as simple as it is, his work selling for tens of millions of dollars, if not more, as what am I trying to say? As I'm trying to look for a device here. And I'm trying to use the right words too. Like, I don't want to use the word basic. I'm trying to think like what's a good word to describe, his work. It's not incredibly complex, but the fact that he came up, I still want to give the credibility to him, considering that he came up with it. And, as trying to get these papers. Basically, what I want to say is I think he's great at like moving paint. I just put it that way. I don't want to try to get too fancy with my words. But yes, Mark Rothko, everybody. That was not my greatest moment of speech. It's probably one of my worst moments of speech. Literally forgetting what I was going to say mid-sentence. That's usually a cause for concern. Maybe I should be concerned, but I'm trying to paint here, so giving myself a little leeway. So I'm gonna go down here, bring down some more paint, using a nice layer of thick paint. But some people might criticize Rothko because they don't understand his work, and they'll go, "Oh, he just painted these big like two-tone canvases. That seems easy enough. My 5-year-old could do that." But if anything, he was really great with the paint. He knew how to cover massive, large canvases with paint. If anything, am I a Rothko fanboy? I do enjoy a good Rothko painting. I've seen one. I've only seen one in real life my entire life, and it is definitely quite the sight. They're very large, and they definitely command space. Aside from the largeness, right? Like we often think of paintings, and by the way, I'm totally making this up on the spot, and I'm about to share something that I think that I. So apparently, I'm getting reported as um as making the same as a pre-recorded stream. Someone reported me for doing a pre-recorded stream. Therefore, I don't know what to do. I need to. Someone reported me for a pre-recorded stream where obviously, if you want, like, people should say something. That's weird. I'm just gonna let Amazon sit for a little bit. I'm not gonna stream on Amazon right now. All right. Well, like I was streaming on Amazon live as well, and for whatever reason, someone reported me as a pre-recorded stream. So that's just something you got to deal with. And they kicked me off. They should have like sent me a message and been like, "Hey, you know what? If you're not a pre-recorded stream, please say these words or something. Like make me put like a shoe on my left foot or something. You know what I mean?" But don't just like take off my stream, whatever. But Amazon, I like streaming on Amazon. Makes me feel like a QVC host at the same time. But either way, we're gonna smooth out some of this. Let's smooth this out. We're gonna bring this color down. So weird. Anyways, that's the one thing about my streams. Like lots of people are scamming the internet. The reason, because lots of people are doing that. Scamming the internet, by the way, I mean like, they're going onto platforms like TikTok and Instagram or whatever, Amazon Live, and they're not following the rules, and that makes it harder for people that are following rules. I guess things are always going to be harder for the people that follow these rules, because they must have had a lot of people doing pre-recorded streams. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Oh, speaking of which, let me clear the cache on my Amazon. My Amazon Live. I need to clear the cache. Notifications. Allow. We're gonna force stop. Okay. Storage. Clear cache. Clear data. If I log in here, what happens? Troubleshooting. I don't like getting violations. And what's worse about this violation is that I can't really like defend myself. There's no real way to defend myself against this report. I don't know. It doesn't tell me. I can't tell if it was Amazon's AI or if it was something else. Or I don't know if it's just something they did. Vertical phone camera, okay. Preview while using the app. This is screwed. Whatever the heck is happening with Amazon. It's got this like weird glitch on it. So I'm just gonna take a break from Amazon for now. But let's go back to this. We should go back to painting. What was I gonna do? Let's see. We're doing a nice layer of paint right here, right? Yes, that's what we're doing. We're doing painting, people. So it's almost Halloween. Not only is it Caturday, but it's also almost Halloween, which means it is an extra special week for black cats. Or maybe not, because I heard that according to sources, actually black cats. There's a lot of bad people in the world that don't like black cats as much as I do, and apparently, people like, you know, people don't like black cats. They are stuck in 1432, in Salem in 1432, believing that black cats are some type of thing. It's crazy, right? It's crazy that people could be crazy. But they are. All right, let's keep painting this down. We're gonna paint this down. This is actually a pretty decent color. I actually do like this color. And you know, the fact that it's like nice and flat actually gives it this like this interesting look. Everything I'm doing for them is not even contest it. That's right. I should be mad. Let's bring this up a little bit. One great thing about having a nice big canvas or big easel is the fact that you can bring it up and down. We got to get Omizu a wall easel, right? Because Omizu's starting to go bigger and better, but he can't do the same type of like moving of your canvas or easel. What do you feel about that, Omizu? How do you feel about my statement? Because I know Omizu's doing these really big projects, but like, although he's got that huge wall, he's still really limited on like, you know, unless he wants to bend down and paint all day, right? But who wants to bend down and paint? No one. It's not good for, I mean, you know, maybe it's good for your legs, but it's not the most sustainable practice. So really just clearing up the edges on the cat's paws right now. Omizu is going to be doing some brilliant work. He's got all that wall space to work from. Can't wait to see what comes of it. There's a lot more honking in this neighborhood. So I've since moved. If you're fairly new to my live streams, I recently moved. If you have been following along, you probably know that I recently moved. Oh, look at that. It's nice and flat. Making it nice and flat really makes things pop. Making this nice flat color. What's going on here? We need to go right around here. Does this look like a clean circle? Maybe it does. I'm gonna try to do a Rothko sphere around here rather than going for, I want to get a Rothko feel, you know, do this halo thing with a Rothko, you know, the Rothko haze. We're going to call it the Rothko haze. You're not really missing anything. I'm just painting the edge of this right here, right now. No one's missing anything. So Mizu says he's gonna fill up that wall. Look at that. And it's just a giant piece of wood, right? Like you can actually take that wall off and preserve it if you want to. Am I right? Or all right, here we go. Okay. There we go. Really is looking really crisp right now. I think this side looks a little flat, but that's okay. We're gonna go with that. I'll leave that side. But this was really helping to create this, bring out this form. Nice, smooth. Need to angle this so I'm not blocking the camera. Let's go like this. We're gonna come down and we're just gonna bring this almost there. Let's fill that extra bit of space. What was the real point of wasting all this paint on the background? For me, if I had to give an answer, I think it's really just the experimentation. Because obviously, I could have just started with this color. And, if I had thought ahead of time, I could have just been like, okay, this is the color I'm going to use. And I could have saved so much yellow paint. But I didn't. I think for me, it's that like experimentation of, playing with these colors on the canvas that helps. And you know what? It's an expensive lesson, but it was totally rewarding. Because that was a lot of paint that's, I'm just painting over right now. And although I think it has some effect, like, maybe there is some level of this paint coming through, there's some bit of this paint shining through in some way. I don't think it's significant. Therefore, it's not as impactful as I like to think. The underneath, the painting underneath. Let me see what's going on here. Now's a good time to figure out what's going on here. So this section can actually go in a little bit because the arm's sticking out. So whatever is going on this little bit right here, we can actually push this section in just a little bit. So we're going to push this in and use this. And this is a perfect color. That's actually a perfect color right here, this like red. So let's see. I want to switch brushes right now. I'm going to switch a little bit of our paste here. I need a brushier brush. This might work. This might do a brushy brush. Paint underneath does affect the color on top. Well, there you go. Our definitive answer. Hey, what's up, Kate? Kate is back. She is back on track. Kate is back on track. And I only have like one shade of green. I rarely ever buy green paint. Let me see. Maybe I should just use some green. Wouldn't that look pretty good? Like a wooded green color for our halo? No, let's just stick with our yellow here. We're gonna stick with our yellow. And let's stick with our yellow here. Which yellow we're gonna use? We're gonna continue with our mustard yellow. Or this is a medium yellow. It's not called mustard yellow. It's just medium yellow. I call it mustard yellow. We're gonna take this yellow and this bit of green. We're gonna lay it down, and so I took a big chunk of this yellow. I still have so much more of the burnt sienna left. Makes me think I should do another painting right away. And then we're gonna go, let me see if I could do like a Rothko effect. That's what we're gonna aim for, a Rothko-esque effect. And here's what we're gonna do. We gotta throw in some of this gambling gel. Your cat try to get your food? What'd you do to your cat? Did you give it some hugs? Can't let your cat get away with things like that. You gotta show them who's boss every once in a while and give them a hug that they can't get out of until they ask you to. All right, this brush is a little bit too rough. I think it's good for just laying down the paint, but I don't think it's going to be good at helping us get the texture we need. I need like a good gentle brush. Let me try, maybe this brush will work a little better. Just want a nice raw color here. Just a nice raw flat color. Let me see. I'm really curious to see if I can get this Rothko effect. I've tried it before, and my general thought of what needs to happen is I really just need to create a nice flat color on the inside here, and then I need to go for I need to blend it all very nicely. That's what I think needs to happen. So we'll find out right now. I also think that this brush or this paint itself is very transparent. So it's going to be a little bit harder to get this nice thick, this nice layer here. In the same way that we got with our last piece or with the rest of this. But this is a nice color combo. I'm liking the color combo. So I want to paint the inside first before I get, too crazy with the outside. Oh, let me move this down. Why am I reaching so far above my head? There we go. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Can you imagine that? Why would anybody want to see what I'm doing during a live stream? All right. Layers can't be too opaque. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Omizu, for your insight. Without Omizu's insight, I might actually have my own ideas and opinions. I might be my own artist without Omizu's insights. All right, here we go. So this is a thick layer. I can, it's really hard for me to find like a really good opaque yellow. I don't think there is any. Does there exist a opaque yellow? Any yellow I've ever used always seems to have seems to be very not opaque. Ugh. Dang. Need to lock this down. Let me just get a nice clean sweep off the top here. Might need some more Gamblin solvent-free gel here. What'd you see? Fall into me? What are you talking about? Falling into me. Oh, the painting? Yeah, the painting almost fell on me. Yep. That did happen. Alright, let's go like this. So Kate, have you had a chance to catch an Omizu stream yet? Did you catch the Omizu stream? Great stream. Worth a visit. I highly recommend it. All right, let's get another nice thick layer right into here. We're gonna go, boom, just lay it in here. Try to cover up all the things all of our mistakes. It's like my life. Trying to cover up all the mistakes I've ever made. All right, so let me think now. I want to plan out so I don't mess this up, which not messing up's impossible, but let's see, how can I, my goal is to get the Rothko effect, the effect of Rothko along the edges here. I'm trying to think, I don't know how he would do it. I'm sure it's just a matter of bringing the two pieces together, two sides together with a nice brushy brush. Actually, this one needs to gotta get this side a little closer to the edge. Get a little closer to the edge on this side here. I might even need to do another layer on top of this yellow because this yellow is just way too ultra transparent. And you still see so much of the remnants underneath. Let's see, how do we does anyone ever feel like artists get upset when you say, oh, this very much reminds me of Rothko, or it's like sometimes artists feel like you've realized their secret or something. Actually, you know what? So we're gonna go right here, and let's see how we do this. I'm gonna take a round brush. Do I have a round brush? Do I have a large round brush? Here we go. We're gonna go. Here we go. This is what we buy brushes like this one for. Nice little round brushes just to get that brushy effect. And how do I want to blend this? I guess we're just gonna go blend across. Should probably grab. What do I need to do? Here's some technique. We're gonna use some technique right now. We're gonna put a little bit of this Gamblin solvent-free gel. I'm gonna use this Gamblin solvent-free gel. We're just gonna dip the tip of our brush in here, just so we can get this paint more spreadable. And hopefully, we're gonna just go around in a circle here, blend in this yellow with the red, and hopefully create the effect that we're looking for, which is just that. Maybe I should use some yellow. We're gonna grab this yellow. Just create that mood, that cloudy mood. I'm just gonna get this cloudy mood and just spread it across here. Kind of reduce the boundaries. And unfortunately, it's only kind of pervading into the left side, but not into the right side, but not so much the right side. But maybe if I get this little booger off. Maybe if I just keep doing it, something will happen, right? Let's grab a little bit more of this spreading juice. Call it the spreading juice. And we're gonna grab some of that and grab some more of this spreading juice. We're gonna blend in just so we can hide this little line that we made last night. I was thinking we were gonna do something with it, but we're not. And then we want to bring this yellow. I'm gonna bring some of this yellow into the other side. I think this will help us to tie this all together. Just like that, it's like a merge, you know, a little merge of space here. You know, brought a lot of this into the yellow, but we didn't really bring the yellow into the red area. I don't know, how's it looking? So because some of this paint is still wet, I'm trying not to just, you know, scrape off the paint. I want to get this effect here. I think it worked a little bit, you know. It's working a little bit. It's got an effect, a little blooming, a little like a bloom, blurred bloom effect. All right, let's go to the other side, and we're gonna go. Let's go blend this out. We're gonna try this side a little different. We're gonna kind of scrape the pieces off here, and just give it this little blend into the center here. This little border blend. This little blended border here. Just gonna go around and there we go. And let's grab this yellow again. Let's go get this yellow again, and then we're gonna come down the center again with this border and just blend it onto the other side. Just blend it around. Might be able to strengthen this yellow with some white, but we'll see. I'm just gonna keep going right here. Get this spreadability around. Get it nice and spread it around into the yellow, into the red. I'm sure if I like looked it up, I could figure out how to really capture the I'll call it the Rothko blur, is like blurring of areas. Where's the Rothko blur? It's not looking too bad. It's actually looking pretty good. We're gonna work our blur here a little bit more. I think when it comes to this shape, it does need to have a little bit more of a curvature. All right, how's that? How's that extra bit of curvature? Maybe ease it into the, maybe bring it into the red a bit more, into the yellow a bit more. And we're gonna definitely grab some more yellow, and let's see how we can bring this yellow in. Or just like allow the colors to permeate across, you know, just to permeate across this little central membrane. Maybe if I take a gentler brush, let me see. This brush is a little rough. Ah, here we go. This could be a nice gentle brush. If I could unstiffen it. Let me unstiffen this, dip it in some oil. And here we go. Let's just do it at the very tip. It just kind of works. Works a little bit. There you go. Probably use a feather. Should probably use a feather or something for what I'm trying to do. You know what I should have done is I should have painted over this really thick line here instead of letting it. I should have painted over it. This way I could just blend across the barrier around the, you know, around it instead of. Yeah, I should have done that. Oh well. How does that look? That's okay. This little section. Where's that section? This little empty section over here. Okay, so now that we've got this, I think we can move on. But I have so much paint. So much paint on my canvas right now. I mean, on my easel. It's like, I just feel like it's going to go to waste if I don't start a new canvas. What can we do? So we got lots of burnt sienna. You know, burnt sienna I could definitely use on a different canvas. What should we do? I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to go bring back our other canvas. Let's get back to working on this. We're going to do something similar. We're going to take some of the stick red. We're going to brighten up some of the areas. Let me see where I can brighten up some of the areas here. Just want to play with these colors around her. I don't want to make it too flat, too basic. I think that would feel very uninspired, you know what I mean? Like if it was just too flat, too basic. Like my last one, you know, it looks clean, but I find that to be kind of It appeals to, you know, people that love those clean edges, but it doesn't necessarily appeal to me. So I want to find with this one something, you know, in between here. Want to go this yellow's in. This yellow in here. Let's just have some fun with the yellow. Just see what comes of this brushwork, you know? You know what? Let's grab some of our cerulean blue. Do I sell my art or create for fun? Both. I create for fun and I sell it. Although I will be honest, I haven't sold a painting in a little while, but you know what? It ebbs and it flows. Ebbs and it flows. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, I do have some for sale. If you want some prints, I've got some on eBay. If you want prints, I've got prints on eBay. I got a wide variety of options of purchase prices and everything. So if you're looking for anything, got stuff on eBay. I also have prints on Redbubble if you prefer. Or if there's a specific piece you're looking for, feel free to let me know. But you could send me a message on Instagram or shop directly on Peggy.com for originals. But thanks for stopping in and sharing sharing your thoughts, sharing your curiosity. Hey. Hey. I'm painting. Good. Hi, kitties. Hello, kitties. Hi. How are you? Kitties. You all right?
Yeah.
Now's a good time for a nap.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna eat first. Want any spaghetti?
Not really.
No. You're not required. Hi.
What's up?
Oh wow. Looks great. Very nice. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
So I'm
Awesome.
gonna bring this blue in here.
Want your mask now or later?
Can you just show it to me?
Yeah, sure.
Show it to me. Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
What brand of paint do I use? Oh, that's a great question. So I have a few brands of paint that I use. I use right now. I actually mixed a couple brands, but it depends on what I'm working on. If it's the early phase of a painting, like right at the beginning, or if I'm like messing around, I might use like Winsor and Newton. Winsor and Newton's a great brand. Winton, Winsor and Newton. If I'm like mixing a bunch of different colors, I might use like Utrecht or Winsor and Newton or Gamblin 1980. If I'm doing some very specific details, I might use like. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, if I'm doing like some very specific details, I might use like a much more like highlights or something. I might use a different paint, such as like what's it called? Let me just show some of the paints that I like to use. I got a show. Let's do a show and tell of paints. So I have this set of Michael Harding, and I got to use the red once, and it's just an absolutely brilliant red. So so Winsor and Newton, brands like Winsor and Newton, or like Gamblin 1980 or Von Hoch brand, I might use for like early layers in a painting, just the basic standard layers, or I might use them for like really crazy abstract stuff. And then I might use like slightly more let's see, higher pigment brands, let's just say that, such as Michael Harding or like the actual Gamblin, not the 1980 Gamblin, but regular Gamblin. And I might use those brands to like, do touch up certain parts of the body. And then I have a couple other brands I've experimented with. Zen Art and Lucas. Zen Art and Lucas are some brands I've experimented with. So, I have a whole bunch of different brands. Usually if there's like a pack that I find that has like an interesting color combination, I might just pick it up. But I've definitely reached a point where, the standard packs just don't cut it for me anymore. The standard packs of like red, blue, green, all those things. What's up, Dave?
Hey.
Price range of the paint? Honestly, it's hard for me to keep track at this point. Like, Winsor and Newton, Utrecht. I mean, these big tubes, like standard size, just entry level price points is about like $20 to $30 per tube. And then, Michael Harding, honestly, Michael Harding, I don't know how much they are. And the regular Gamblin, these regular Gamblin tubes, depending on the brand or depending on Charvin's about $20 a tube. I think these Gamblins are about $30. $30. Well, this is Series 4, so Series 4 is a little bit more expensive. You're looking at about $30 for a small tube. Um, and again, like, don't quote me on prices because I usually buy these in like bulk in big packs that, sometimes curated sets. So it's really hard to determine. I rarely ever purchase these paints individually, except for the big tubes once in a while. So it's really hard to give you an idea. But, they range from anywhere between like 20 to, well, like actually like maybe $5 to $20 plus the different sizes of tubes and beyond. Yeah, it all depends on, depends. Hard to say. But, I do have a a list in my profile if you want to go check it out. A list of products on Amazon that you can just buy shipped directly from Amazon. But ultimately, I mean, what are you asking for? What is guiding your curiosity? Are you looking to start to get into painting? Are you buying a kit for a friend? Are you, trying to purchase something for yourself? What's the idea here? Yeah, they say the best things in life are free, but painting has taught me that I have to disagree with that because painting is probably one of the best things in life, but it definitely ain't free because paint is expensive as heck when you really start to use it. And sometimes I have to usually stop myself from going, oh, this little tube of this little squirt of paint is gonna cost me $5. Like with a tube of like Gamblin 1980, if I use just a quarter of this tube, it's gonna be at least $5, and half of it's gonna go and like disappear. Half of it's gonna go on the canvas. So that's the funny thing about painting. You don't want to stress too much about the pieces. I mean, it's important, right? But just general. I think the general wisdom is to buy the best that you can afford. So if that means that you have to go and buy the dollar store brand, go buy the dollar store brand. No one, I feel like, it's one of those things. If you have to buy the dollar store brand, buy the dollar store brand. Now, are you going to be selling painting with the dollar store brand? Maybe, if you like, if you're able to find those clients, but it's an investment, right? It's a business expense. So I personally don't use dollar store brands, but I can imagine if someone had to, like if I was so desperate to paint because I just absolutely had to, I would use a dollar store brand. If I couldn't, just buy regular tubes. But that's the one good thing about paintings. It's a lifelong endeavor, right? It can be a lifelong endeavor. It doesn't have to be your whole lifetime, but it can be. And the beauty of it is that you can collect your paints over time, right? Buy one tube of color a month. And at the end of the year, you will have 12 different tubes of color of varying sizes. And that's plenty of paint. So anyway, smooth and buttery, Kate, like the paint. Casper says this is a waste of paint. Yes. Drawn sketch, Prismacolors. I didn't even know Prismacolor made a made a oil paint. Artist, drawn sketch, Prisma. Oh, so pencils. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Paint price changed. You changed to $11. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for sticking up for the artist. So right now I'm just doing a background. Honestly, I don't have a plan for this background. I don't know. I want it to be more fun and free, rather than overly rigorous and planned out and all that. So maybe it makes for better painting. Maybe it doesn't. Let's see.
So okay if I shut the door?
What door?
This door.
Yeah, sure. All right. So anyway, a happy Caturday. Yes, it is Caturday. Oh, I can actually rotate this back. I had to turn it a little bit. Can everybody see that a little better? Excuse me. All right, let's clean off some of our brushes here. I'm not going to be using this big brush anymore. Actually, you know what? Let me wipe this off my easel here. You get such nice effects with a palette knife. All right, let's go like this. We're gonna wipe this off. Wipe this baby off. Honestly, I feel like we're almost done with this. I could keep pushing it, but I really want to make it look as real as possible. Not really. And if I'm not going to that point, then how far do I really need to push it? But as one of my mentors, Bob Ross does the. Yeah, Bob Ross. He usually has a container next to him, and then he smacks it on the side of the canvas. Right? He does a good old. But I can't really do that in here. I'm not in a clean, controlled studio space where somebody cleans up after me every evening after the show. I have a space to maintain, and I can't get too much paint everywhere. Although inevitably there will be paint everywhere. However, I try not to get too crazy. Because I have cats too. My cats like to be in this room, and they like to just camp out in this room. Even though I try not to let them in here, they still sneak in somehow. Cats have a way, and so they sneak in here, and then I got to figure out how to keep them out. And I just hope that they don't step on any paint, because then it'll not only catch everywhere, but paint's not healthy. I don't eat paint. There's a reason why humans don't eat paint. If it's not good for me, then it's not good for my cat. I'm just laying down some paint here. This isn't like a specific activity. A specific thing I'm going for with this. Cat likes your pencils, huh? Victoria, do you want a promo? Do you want a promo on this live stream? I'm happy to do it for you. If you have to be over the age of 18 though. So if you're over the age of 18, if you want, you can plug your Instagram handle here and we'll pull it up. We're gonna judge and evaluate your work and roast it. No, just kidding. We won't roast it. But okay, cool. Yeah, if you want, feel free to plug your Instagram handle, and we will plug your share it. We will pull it up on my phone. Oh, you don't use social media? Okay, fair enough. Then, well, if you have any other options and you want your work shown on this live stream, feel free to let me know. But other than that, you could telepathically send it to me maybe, and perhaps I can, magically somehow imagine what it looks like and explain it to everybody. Or you could explain it to everybody. However you want to do it, if you want to do it. Or you could choose not to do it at all, which is perfectly fine by me. Yeah, you can share your Pinterest. Plug your Pinterest. We'll pull up your Pinterest. Pinterest is social media. That totally counts as social media. What do you mean you don't have social media? Used to participate in UIL, working medical. Now you're back into it. That's great. Welcome back. You never left. You were never separate from the system. The system was always here waiting for you. It knew it would return. And by system, I mean the ether of human creativity. The ether. All right, so I cleaned off a few brushes, and now let me see what I can do. Still a little too much pink around her head. But yeah, I gotta bring back up my references. Open recent, cat. Discard my changes, and here we go. All right. Omizu, I definitely have community posts available on my channel. What are you talking about? Do you not get my community posts? You think you were an artist block for a while, you're frustrated. You know what? I think it's important to take frustration as a sign. Sometimes it's hard to know if frustration is actually is just, a natural thing, like, getting frustrated because things aren't progressing as fast as you want to, right? That's normal. But then there's like frustration where I think things aren't clicking. And I think that's the type of frustration that or no, the type of frustration where what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, two types of frustration. Frustration that happens from the natural progression of things, trying to get better at something, and maybe it's just not happening as fast as you want. And then the other type of progression I was gonna say is type of progression where the other type of frustration is a type of frustration where maybe it's your mind, your body telling you like, oh, maybe I just don't enjoy this as much as I thought I did. That's what happened to me with digital art. I would sit at a table doing digital art when I was studying digital art. I would just sit there, and I just never really enjoyed it. I just could not. I've often considered myself a fairly technical person, but just not with digital art. It's just not my thing. And I realized that digital art was not for me. So here we go. We're gonna go bring this up right here. And let's go ahead and bring in some reds around the side here. We're gonna grab like a deep red, yellow. Surfing Dead. Let's see what people are saying. Class got Pinterest too. Am I a court reporter artist? No, I'm not a court reporter artist. That would be an interesting job, though. I would consider that as a job. Let's try to find. We're gonna go deeper, a little bit deeper with this color. Go deeper with this brown. This like dark brown color. And I want to find some space right around the head here. Let's go blend this up. We're going to take a slightly bigger brush. You just want to blend this up here. You don't want to keep this. There we go. Just use it to create a couple little shadows in the hair here. Create that separation. Yeah, you think I need more? You think I need tantric meditations? That's odd. Why would you think that? Why would you think I needed tantric meditation? Dave's always got the weirdest comment of the day. Always with the weird comments. My goodness, Dave. Carly Rogers. Tantrum meditation. Huh? Yeah. Tantrum meditation. All right, we got the lips looking okay. I should get some eyelashes. A couple more eyelashes. Let's go for like a nice. Let's go for a lighter eyelash here. I'm gonna go for some light eyelashes. Maybe I can add some color variety along her eyebrows here. So eyebrows need to have some more details around. Maybe add a little bit of a darker area. Just to give it some more shape. Darker area for some more shape. Helps to create some extra. And then we're gonna go around here, also add some of this darker space right here. You know what needs to happen? We need to separate some of these eyelashes. So these eyelashes up here need a bit of separation. So this is going to come around the eye. Let's go add a little gray highlight into our eye. So we need this yellow, white, gray. Let's go yellow, gray. Very delicate situation right here. And then now, let's find a good skin tone. So we're going to take our skin tone here. And we want to find, where's our skin tone? I create some eyelashes. So we're going to come into here. We're going to go. Let's get the shape of them. So we're going to come around. right, let's go like this. Want a couple more details. Just wanted to get some good eyelids. They can't be too distinct, so let's go a nice deep. That goes. Let's see. So this eyelid's gonna come around from the front, actually. So. Now let's make these eyelids just a little bit thinner. I'm gonna thin out the eyelids just a little bit. So we're gonna take like a nice little flesh color. Let's go right. Actually, you know what? Let's go. This brush is a little too thick. Too thick of a brush. Let's go. Should have another thin brush somewhere. Oh, this is a good thin brush. I mean, I think every artist, Victoria, I think every artist definitely has, a favorite artist that's very mainstream. I mean, is there really anybody who's so edgy that they don't have a single artist that's not mainstream in their favorite artist list? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, yo, Frida Kahlo's. If you like Frida Kahlo, that's awesome. 1, 2. So 1, 2 eyelid. 2 eyelid sections. Yeah, I mean, as far as liking artists goes, I mean, I think really, in my opinion, it's like, like whoever artist you like. But if you're, trying to make, trying to appear very sophisticated as an artist, you always got to have at least 1 or 2 non-mainstream artists that you can name off just to sound like you know what you're talking about. And then like one contemporary, 2, 3 contemporary like living artists, 3 contemporary living artists that most people don't know about, 3 mainstream artists that people do know about, and then 3 mainstream artists that people don't know about. That's how you work this game, right? You just gotta have an answer for everything. Gotta have those answers. If you care to. It's not necessary. It's all for appearances. Just to appear like you know what you're talking about. Don't listen to me. Always be your authentic self, people. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Be authentic. If all you like is Frida Kahlo, then that's great too. This other eye doesn't need as much work, but it does need some. So we look at this. That, bring that over. Let's go bring this other edge. Follow me on Instagram, however my page looks blank. Hey, it's all good. How do I find these artists, Omizu? You just listen to Omizu. In order to find these artists, you gotta live stream. And you just gotta like let random people tell you about artists like Omizu. Just let him like tell you about random artists. That's my secret. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a cool artist, yeah, and then you just add it to your repertoire to sound, because Omizu's the Mr. Underground. If you need a Mr. Underground to inform you of all the underground artists to sound like you know what you're talking about, just listen to Omizu. Visit his live streams. Check out Omizu Paints' live streams. He does some great live streams. Very informative. So Michael Wilbur says great artists everywhere. Most don't get recognized. I think let's discuss that. Let's talk about that. I think the gap is recognition versus virality. I think today, in order to be considered recognized, you need 1 million followers. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's true. I don't think you need 1 million followers to be recognized. I think you just need a few hundred really good followers and one or like a few really good collectors, and I would consider that feeling like I've been recognized. If I had 2 or 3 really good collectors and a few hundred followers, I would feel recognized, and that's where I'm kind of at right now. So maybe I'm just being like, yeah, I'm a recognized artist. I'm not a household name. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, as far as a need for recognition, I feel I've got a good amount of it. I have the recognition I want. So let's see where else we can go from here. Let me see if there's a place where I can. I'm going to keep that red around the forehead. I do want to separate. The problem is right here, it kind of doesn't look like hair. It just looks like this little off section. So I want to normalize this area. But before that, let me see what else needs to happen to some of these eyes. I think the eyes are good. The nose is okay. The hands look alright. You can see some of the venular work on the hands.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Are you going to want to eat before we go to the thing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I'm going to want to eat the spaghetti?
Maybe. I don't know why.
Just wondering if I should put it away or if I should eat the rest or should I save it?
Oh, you're going to eat the rest? Go
I
eat the
don't
rest.
know.
If you're hungry, eat the rest.
I'm not that hungry, but I want it to go to waste. It's really good.
Okay.
I might have a salad.
Well, if you're hungry, eat the rest. Okay, and then here we go. We're going to do a nice, need to bring down the resolution in this. Four-inch wide. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is what I gotta do. I gotta bring this up. I'm gonna work on the hands. So we're going to bring this up. Oh, there we go. So it doesn't move too much. I'm gonna work on these hands a little bit. Just gonna get this area underneath the hand. Little shadow underneath the fingers, and we're gonna work these other fingers right here. I'm not gonna add too much shadow because it's gonna. I think if I add the shadow, if you add too much shadow, what's gonna happen is, you're gonna kind of ruin the painting. People are gonna start to create an image in their head of what it should look like. Because like this painting's pretty loose, right? This painting's pretty loose, and if I start to add too much detail, it kind of backfires, because adding too much detail will make people think about the details. Whereas, and I'm just thinking out loud here, I don't know if it's actually true, but I think what would happen is, people start to think too much about the details, and then it kind of ruins the illusion, because just kind of ruins the illusion. So after this first knuckle right here, you get a little ring right here. There's just a little ring. Now the garage, Michael has his bathroom, and Emmett has his closet. We were like the Three Musketeers. Three Musketeers. All right, so we're gonna go with slight shadow here. We're gonna go with a shadow yellow. We're going to go with straight yellow. We'll go with a big bright yellow highlight here. It's going to be a white highlight actually. Let's grab this yellow here, bring it into the white. I need a little streak of, nice little streak of, like a dark brown, this little dark brown streak of color going down this thing. It's a little piece of jewelry. And you know what? Another thing I gotta clear up is just this area around the head. Maybe I might leave that pink. I don't know. I might leave this little pink section. What's up, Katie? Katie has said hi again. What's going on? It's like every time Katie says hi, it's the first time she's ever been in this room, been in this live stream. Let me do some details on clothes. I don't want too many details, just things that like make it pop. Just so I could show how skilled I am. I need to add a couple little details that I can flex, that show that I can flex my painting muscles. Need a bigger brush for this. I'm gonna grab like a light blue highlight. We're gonna highlight this super light blue. Let's go like this. We're gonna come around. Make a button out of that. There's a little button. And then we're gonna do dark color this with the gray. Three Musketeers of painting. And then, you know what? I want some shadow. I want to work with some shadow. I'm gonna come right down here. Oh, crap. This is becoming this isn't long enough. I need a longer stick. I need a bigger stick. I need at least like a 4 foot, 6 foot stick. That's gonna allow me to kind of just rest this up. I wonder if there's another way. Let's see. Maybe I can put it down here and just have it set. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Something like this. Look at how polite this interaction is. What a wonderful and polite interaction we've got. All right, so I need a flesh color. Let's get a flesh color here. Get our white, bring it into our yellow, bring in some red or burnt sienna-ish, whatever that color was that we got. I'm gonna find a nice little flesh tone. We're gonna bring it to here. We're gonna imagine the arm kind of came down and just kind of comes into here. Does that look like? Yeah, it does kind of look like the hand is peeking through. That's cool. All right. Let's grab a white. Sometimes I even surprise myself. I'm gonna go like that. Add a highlight along this thing. Let's try to find some more reds. We're gonna add a bit more red into this. Bring our red and yellow into this arm space right here. You know what? It's time to have some more fun with this, as if we haven't already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go super, loosen up a little bit. Let's add lines. How about that? Let's just add some black lines. All right, we're gonna take a slightly thin brush. We're just gonna, let me. We're gonna outline some stuff. It's like a cardinal rule not to outline things, but you know what? Actually, no. We're gonna keep pushing. I change my mind a lot. I have an idea, but then as I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna be the best idea. So what I want to do is I definitely want to have this section right here. Just so this section makes more sense. And then we're gonna add a little bit more blue, darken this blue a little bit. We're gonna bring this around, so we're gonna bring this down. Just create this little section of separation right here. Let's bring in some highlights. So we're gonna grab these little blue highlights again. So I'm trying to find some little blue highlights, and I want to just want to create some dimension in this, just a little bit of dimension. Let's try to find some deep shadows. So let's go for some shadows again. And work some shadows into here. Work some nice shadows. We'll need some nice shadows. And we're gonna come down, and it's gonna go. I want to keep the looseness, but still get some of the shapes. That's what I'm going for here. Still get some of the form, but not get overly bogged down with realism detail. Kind of stick with the theme of this. which is this like much looser style. And by looser style, that's just code word for lazy, too lazy to paint super realistic, because that'll take 5, 10 years to finish this. Joking. That might trigger that might trigger some very loose artists that disagree. Kind of joking, kind of serious. A little bit of both. I could call this loose realism, right? This could be a form of loose realism. But that's one thing. Sometimes it's good to know like what's important and what's not. What absolutely needs to be captured in good detail, and what doesn't need to be captured in good, super hyper realistic detail. Let's see this one. We can add the shadow right around here. Oh, you know what? I think I'll leave that red. Leave the red. Should I leave that red around the forehead? Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of distracting. Now let's clean this brush off. I'm triggering the impressionists in the chat. Put them in their place. Is that what I'm doing? I don't want to upset impressionists. I like impressionists. All right, let's grab another light blue again, and I think we're almost done. I can feel it. There's a part of me, if I was only to like finish my paintings when it looked complete, I would probably never finish in some cases, but the way I finish paintings is like, it's a look thing, but it's also like a feeling thing too. I have like this feeling of when my paintings are done. And I just, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of it being ready. And sometimes I have to like, sometimes I do have to push a little further, I admit. But then other times, it's just, you're done. That's a little too bright. I don't like how bright this is, so I'm gonna tone down this brightness. There we go. Just make that a little bit less bright here. This definitely has its own effect. It's interesting. Let's see, what is this down here? This is just a line. A line with no purpose. Does it have a purpose? It's got some purpose. It's always got a purpose. Always gotta have a purpose. And let's go in here. I like this messy little area right here that doesn't make any sense. It's just a bunch of swirls. That's okay. Let's scratch. Let's do some scratching. Scratching in of highlight right here. And how's that looking? It's kind of cool. It's different. Her arms are cut off, but whatever. Hands are there. Let's maybe add some of this highlight right into here a little bit. Go up in here. And into here. You know what it needs? A hint more shadow. Just ever so slighter shadow into around the neck area. So I want to grab just the right amount of shadow to bring into this neck area. I don't want it to be too dark. Oh, that's a good shadow color. There we go. It's actually not too bad. And we're going to go into here and blend in with this other shadow a little bit. Go with this blue. Just kind of fill that in and give it a little bit of a glow. And let's see. All right, we're almost there. I think the plane of the head. This is just one little section right here is looking a little weird. I think it's got to follow this plane of the head. There's this form that I see on her head right here. But let me see. Let's see if I can take care of this. We're almost done, by the way, people. I actually think we're almost done with this painting. Actually, this painting is almost complete. I just want to do this little touch up right there. But it's a very challenging one because I don't have the color anymore. So I have to kind of mix the color. That's the one thing about my palette. When I work with my palette is, sometimes I don't always stay consistent with colors. As far as knowing the exact ratio of white to red to yellow to mix in to the specific section. So it's almost like it's quite often I'm mixing like a new shade or new color of something. I'm just usually I just kind of test it. I just jump in and add a little bit and just see what happens. Let's go right here. Oh, that's actually pretty good. All right. It's like a gold. Not bad. Just make this part disappear a little bit. Red. Try to keep it like around. Maybe if I could bring in a bit more highlight, just a tiny bit more highlight. Don't too much. If I add too much, it's gonna overpower it. So let's see if I can just. Oh yeah, not bad. Okay. It's a very delicate situation right now. All right, there we go. I actually like that. I want to keep the red. We're gonna go bring this around. Some of these details are good. I like the nose. It's a little bit of highlight around her cheek. It's kind of distracting right here, but that's okay. We'll leave that. And let's see what else needs to happen. Hair looks great. The ring is okay. The nose is looking all right. And eyelids, hair. just want to see if there's something I can do about this little section right here. Maybe not. I'm gonna try something. It's a little bit risky. I'm gonna take one of these little brushes and try to capture some hair. Try to capture the detail of the hair here. First off, this needs to have. That's risky. This little shadow right there. That was a bad move. Very bad move. Let's see what we can do about it. We're gonna grab our white, mix it in with our yellow. We'll try to find some yellow here. Find like a nice dark yellow, and let's see. I'm gonna go. Whoop. And some of the hair kind of like goes. It's a little, her hair is a little not totally perfect. There's some waves around. Let's go ahead and just bring a couple of hairs out. Give it that loose feeling. It's a little better, right? Yeah, now that looks a little bit more like hair. So a little touch makes it look a little bit more like hair. There we go. All right. I think we're done. We are done. We are finished with this painting now. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's put his signature. E. Ferguson. Let's go. Okay. Yes. Finished. All right. Feels good to be done with the painting. And we can move on to the next one tomorrow or the day after for the next 150 years. I think with modern technology, I could probably live to 180. I estimate that I can live to about 185. That's my estimate. So that's why I said 150 years. Painting, right? Another 150 years of painting with modern technology. wrapping up, people. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Either now or into the future. Getting anything? No. Okay. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for being here. It is done. We are finished with this. It's a good time to end the night. So take care, everybody.